pull up the description so we don't actually have to go back and forth. I'm just going to copy that description here. And the main class, we already have that. That is this class right here. So the first thing, what do we need to do? The first thing, ID. Then we do int ID. What else? String name. How many do we actually need total? 4, right? So we need 4. We got ID, we got name. The next is description and price. And description, I'm going to keep that as a string. And the price, I don't want to do int, I'll do double. So this is a product object. And what other things do we need? Constructor, we need a constructor. So we need a product constructor. And we're going to take all those strings from the user. So we need int ID, string name, and then we have string description, and then we have double price. Because we're gonna let the user decide what they're gonna be. Nothing is default. And then we do this dot ID equals to ID, this dot name equals to name, and then this dot description equals to description, this dot price equals to that. Anything else we need to add? So each product object should contain the following attributes. So the requirement for the product class is just having attributes, and in order to initialize the attributes, we have the constructor. Do we need anything else? So we could add getters and setters. Right now, I kept all the fields to public. So I'm not adding getters and setters, but you should. So if I set any of these to private, then that is called, I think they have one of the requirements in here is, so this is one of the other requirements. Use encapsulation to protect your object's integrity. This means using private visibility for fields and providing public getters and setters for methods as needed. So that is known as encapsulation. So anytime that you don't want user to go through access the attributes and fields, you want to set that to private. And we have time right now, so I'm going to go and set that to private, and we'll follow all of the requirements. We're going to do encapsulation and private just like. And now we can have getters and setters for each one of them. I think there is a shorter way to do it in IntelliJ. It creates it for you. I actually don't know how. Let me look it up. Oh, start typing to public and it'll show you. Okay. And can you select all of them at once? I thought there was even a shorter way to do all at once. Public, set description, public, set name. Now, so we fulfilled all these requirements. And if I come back here, we got rid of this. I'm going to delete this. Next, we have create cart class. Cart should contain a list of products that the user has selected, right? So when you add it to the cart, it gets added to the list. That's what they're talking about. Create contains a list of products. It should also contain methods to add and remove products to or from the list. So what is a list right here? How many attributes do we need for the cart class? I'm going to copy this. We know we need a cart class. I'm going to create that class, the description. And just reading this description, what are the attributes for this class? An array list. So array list is one of the attributes. Do we need any other attributes? So that's the only attribute. And what's the name of the attribute? So the array list would be one of the data types, right? Data structures. But what is the name of the array list? Product. Yeah, so it's going to be data structure of products. So we need array list and products, and I need to do an import for array list. And does anybody remember which import do we need to do? Import util. So even if you do star, remember it imports everything from there. So even if you don't, you just need to have util dot star, or just util dot array list would work too. And this would the name of the attribute would be list equals to array list. Do we initialize it here, or how should we proceed? Initializing the constructors, I'm going to get rid of this. And we're just going to declare it. We're not going to do anything. We can create a constructor, and that would be something like this. And are there any parameters for this constructor? Product one. So remember, if we have a product right here, can you we need to add that to the list, right? So we have a list of products equals to, first thing we need to do is initialize it, something like this. That means we need to add this product to the list, right? Why else would we need this product? But can you have an empty cart? So as soon as you create a cart, that would be empty, right? So in that case, we don't need any parameters here. We need to write add function and remove function to be able to add stuff to the cart or remove something from the cart. So for this constructor, we don't need a parameter. All we're going to be doing is creating a list of products. All right, so now how many functions do we need? 3 functions. We have add function, we have remove function, add it and remove it from the cart, and then we have method to calculate the total price of all the products. So let's go and write one function at a time. So let's go and add the add function. How would we write the add function? What's the syntax? What's the public static void add to cart, and we'll copy that back and add it here. So another question mark. So remember, any function that you write inside an object, remember cart is an object, right? You don't need static keyword there. Any function that belongs to that class, that is only the function that is going to be modifying the fields inside the class. You don't need to add a static. Static fields, static functions and static fields. You only add the static keyword to the function that you're going to be writing, and you're not going to be modifying any of the fields inside that function. But inside this function, remember, we are modifying these fields. We're adding stuff. We don't need a static keyword, and we can add to cart. And any parameters we need here, what are we adding to product? So we need product, and what happens inside the product? The user calls this function add to cart, and the product comes in here. Let's say it's lettuce or something, and that would get added to where? List of products. So list of products dot add, and all we're doing is we're adding the product. Do we need anything else here, or that's all we need to do? I think that's all. That's perfect. And what about the next function? We got the add function. Then we need the remove function, remove from product. Remove products to or from cart. Remember, this is like a cart, right? So cart of products, list of products. What's the header for the next function? Public void remove and remove the products. So we're going to be removing the product itself. And what happens inside the function? So list of, I'm going to copy that again. And that is list of products that remove. And whatever the product that is coming in, we're going to remove it from the list. And just to stay consistent, I'm going to say remove from cart. Add to cart, remove from cart. So this is the add function right here, and this is the remove function. The next one we need is a calculate total price of all products in the cart. A method to calculate all price in the cart. How can we do that? And how would we, what's the function header of this function? Public cart total. So I'm going to copy that, Garrett, and we'll do public double cart total. And this, and it's complaining that I need to return a double. So how would we calculate the total? Is there a way to get the total? Do we have a function in product to get the total? Or do we have a function in cart to get the total? Or how would we do that? Where is that? How we need to calculate it, right? There's no field that says total or anywhere else. We need to calculate this. Which field are we going to use to calculate it? So loop through array list, get price, and add it to the double. Yeah. So we can do loop through the list, this list right here. And there is a function called get price right here. We can use this to get the price and add it to the total. And whatever that total is, we'll at the end we'll return it. So it'll be something like this. So double total equals to start the start. It'll be something like this. And then we have for loop to add price to the total. One add right. And then we just need a loop here. Have you guys did you guys write any for each loop? Have you ever written it before? So I know you guys are familiar with for loop with int I and stuff. So if you're coming from Python, I'm pretty sure you have written a for each loop. So for each loop is cool also. So we can do product, and that would be a product in list of products, something like this. So now this is a for each loop. It's going to return this one item at a time, and that would be the product itself. And we can do total plus equals to product dot get similar to the for loop itself, but instead of getting the index, writing the index, you actually get the product, the whole product itself, and you do product.getPrice. And first time it's going to be the first index, zero index, then it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and it'll run through the whole list. And you don't actually have to figure out how big the list is. This will do it automatically. So the for each loop, they have that in Python. So if you did, even if you did basic Python, they have this kind of loop here. And I'm pretty sure you've used it. So what's the last thing we need to do? So we calculated the total price, return it. So we do return inside the for loop, we calculate it, and outside the for loop, we return it. So we have the total, we return it, cart total. Do we need anything else? One thing we can do is we can have get method for the whole cart of products. So like a getters method, we can go ahead and add that. Public get list of products, and that would just return the whole list. So that would be one of the getters method for this field, and we can set this field to nobody has access to it unless they go through this form. So remember, we're only adding this because one of the requirements here is we have to use encapsulation, and that means we have to set all of the fields to private, and you have to force them to go through public getters, etc. Did we fulfill all of the requirements for cart class? So did we miss anything? I think so. Yep, I think so too. If you missed anything, we'll come back and fix it. But for right now, I think we got it. All right, we'll go to the main, and then we just did this. I'm going to go and delete this. And the next one is the user class. We'll copy this. I'm going to create a user class. And we'll do user class. How many fields do we need? Oh, sorry, it's already said 3. I thought it was the old message. So 3 fields. It has what 3 fields do we need? Name, email, and cart itself. So we have the user class will contain user details like name and email, and the cart object would represent the user's current shopping cart. So we need 3 things. First one is the name. We need email, so we can use string for that too. And what's the last one? So what's the data type for the last one? Cart. So we have cart itself. So remember, the cart is an object. We're going to use that as one of the fields. Okay. What else do we need here? We got fields. We need constructor. We need constructor. Remember, for constructor, you can do public user. So even if you don't type in public, it is automatically public. So you can just start with the name. So now, do we need any fields, say parameters for the constructor? And what parameters do we need for user constructor? So how many name, email, cart? So we have user. Yeah, so it's going to be string name and string email and set cart. And inside here is going to be this dot name to name, this dot email equals to email. What are we going to do with the cart? It's going to be this dot cart equals to. So what happens if you do something like this with an object? It's not pulling into anywhere, right? So this object right here is a different object than what is here. When you set it to equals, they're not actually set to equals unless you have a specific method here that sets it to equal. So, and we don't have that method here. So we can't do that here like this. So the cart, remember, the user actually creates the cart when the user starts building or adding stuff to it. So the cart, pre-built cart is actually not available for the user to be added, right? So the constructor only takes in the name and the email, and the new empty cart is created. So there is no pre-existing cart. So new cart is created as soon as you create a user. And that would be just an empty. You just initialize the cart up. So just think about it. If you go to any website to shop, right? So you go to Amazon, you register, right? So there is no pre-built cart that gets added to your account. You get an empty card and you start adding to it. Maybe you get a pre-existing card, but for this example, we don't have a pre-existing card. We're going to create anything else we need to add for this class. And though there are no functions we need to add, it doesn't say we need to add any functions. And the shopping card, that's what this is. And we do need to set this to private. If you have a card that's coming in, the pre-existing card, if that's how you designed it, then you can actually set it to the card, and then you actually need to write a method. So what would happen when you're adding setting an old card to the new one? You can do it this way, but right now we're not doing it that way. We need to create a new empty card as soon as the user is created. All right, so now we need public set name, and then we have public get name, and then we have public get card. Any questions, any concerns about this? Do we need to add anything else, or is that it? So did we fulfill all the requirements? We did. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to delete this requirement. And the next one we have a store class. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to create a store class. I'm going to go to new and we'll call this. And the requirements are create a store class. The store class would contain a list of products available for purchase. It should also have methods to list all available products and to add new products to this. How many fields do we need? Just the array list. So we have array list of which type. And we need to do an import, and that would be the util import. We'll come up again, and that would be, we can call that product, something like this. And what happens? What else do we need? Constructor, we need constructor, we need store. Constructor, do we need it? Does it have any parameters? I know we need to do this dot product is something. Does it have any parameters coming in? So think about a store, right? So when you create a store, do you have any list created? Create a list in the constructor like we did in the card? Yeah, so in the card, we created the constructor just like this one. So we would do the exact same thing in the store. So there is no list before we create the store. Once the store is created, then we initialize the new list and we do new array list. All right. What else do we need? So we did this requirement. Now it should also have methods to list all available products and to add new products to the store. How many methods is that? So it should have methods to list all available products and to add new products to the. So let's do one at a time. How do you actually write this one? So you have two methods. That's correct. How do we write the first one? It should have a method to list all available products. How do you get all? So wouldn't this be like a get method for the products field? We have a get method. We have public get products method. Wouldn't this return all of the products that's available? And now we have a get method. We can set this to products. All right. So we got the first one down. This one that would gives us all the products that's available. And now to add new products to the store. That means, but remember all the products that are inside the list, that means we have available for sale, right? That we only have one list. That means if we want to add products for the store, we need to add it to this list. So how would we write? So add products, add product, and that would be product coming in, and products would be the list right here. And just to stay consistent, we'll do this dot and this dot products dot add, and we're adding that product to the list. All right, so we got two functions down. We got the field. We created the class. Do we need to do anything else with these requirements? All right, I think we got this one. Let's go to check what else do we need. So I'm going to go and come in here and delete this requirements. Remember, all these are list of requirements, right? And the next one is a checkout class. So to copy this, we need to create a checkout class. And I'm going to go to checkout class, and I'm going to go to source and create a checkout. Create a checkout class. This class will handle a payment system. It should contain a method that takes a cart object and a user object and completes the purchase. It can simply print out a confirmation message for this assignment. So how many fields and how many functions do we need? Two fields. What two fields do we need for this object? Card and a user. So for this one, the checkout is like a process, right? So when you do a checkout, the all all we're going to be needing is like a function in here. We don't need any fields. So the parameters we can ask the whoever is checking out to pass us the parameter. So this is actually kind of tricky. For I wrote this to simplify it. You can have fields and everything else when you actually create your own. But right now, all this is saying is you need a function that says complete the purchase. So you have the card, you have the user, you have the store, you have everything. You just need to complete the purchase. So in here, we only need one function. And that one function will just do the checkout. So in here, we're going to do public void complete. So in here, it says card and a user. So how many parameters do we need here? Two. Which ones? Card and a user. So if you look at the user right here, there is a card in there already, right? So are we going to be using this card the user has, or are we going to create a new card for that user? So inside the user object, we already have a card, right? So in here, what we're going to be doing is we only need one parameter, which is the user itself. And from that user, we can access their card and do the checkout. So in here, it says to simply print out a message confirmation that you have completed the checkout. So we can do system .out.println, and then checkout is complete for user. And here we do user.get name, right? And we have a new line, or right, system.out println, and here you get the list of items that were checked out. How do we get the list of items that were checked out? User dot get cart. That is what we're checking out. All the items. Remember, this get card inside the user is this right here, and then returns the card. Card is this, so this wouldn't work. We need a list of items that's being checked out, right? So how do we get the list of items that are being checked out? So we go to user, we do get card, we do get this object right here, the card itself. And then if you go to card object, we have get list of products inside that card. So we can do something like this. So we can do user.get card.get list of products. That would actually get us the list. That's all. Oh yeah, Sage already said that, sorry. And now last thing we can do is print out the total. So we print ln and the total price is, and then how do we get the total price? So if you look at the user, there is no price here, right? The price exists in the card. So if you go look at the card, the card total price, we have a function right here. We can use that function, but how do we get to this function? We only have access to the user. Remember, we're trying to print the card total. How do we get that? User dot get card dot card total. There you go. We get the card from the user, and inside the card function, we have a card object. We have a function called card total. We're going to access that and print out the total. So the first thing it says, we need to create several products. Create product objects. So it's going to be product. And the first product, we can call that product 1. And that would be equals to new product. And if you look at the product, we need to provide all these things, right? So we need to provide this ID, name, description, and price. For creating a product, we need to provide all that. So first one is ID. Let's do 1 because that's the first product we're adding. So Brenda already has that. That's great. I'm gonna copy that, Brenda. So apple, red delicious apple, and price is something like that. And the next we need to add is product 2, and that is new product. And we need to add a second product. And I'm just gonna copy what Brenda had before and change stuff around. So I'm gonna do product 2, so that would be 2. And let's do banana. Description, organic, and price. Let's do 25 cents. All right, what's the next thing we need to do? We created several products, objects, add them to the store. We don't have a store yet, so we need to create a store. So we're gonna do store, and we're gonna do, let's do Walmart equals to new store. And does the store take any parameters? If you come in here, store does not take any parameters. That's the constructor right there. And we just created Walmart store. And then we need to add these products to the store. So we have Walmart. And what function are we going to be using? How did we add it? Do we have a built-in function? Walmart add product. Yep. So Walmart add product. And we're going to add product 1. And then do Walmart add product 2. So now we have a store, we have 2 products. Walmart is selling 2 products, apple and banana. And then what's next? Then create a user object and simulate adding and removing products from the store. So we need a user, right? So we need someone who actually goes in and shops at, we have user, and let's do new equals new user. And then what things do we need to provide for users? So we need name and email. So if you look at the constructor for user, we have name and email. And let's go and add that. So name, let's do Brenda. Looks like Brenda is shopping here. And email Brenda at, I want to make that up. That's the first user, and what does the user needs to do? Add to cart. So how do we add something to the cart? Which object are we going to be using? Product, store, or user? We're going to be using user object. We do user dot add to cart. We have user, yes, we have user. And then how do we add it to the cart? So if we look at the user, there is no function to add it to the cart, right? We have get cart, that would return the cart object itself. And then if you look at the cart, then we add it to the cart. So we can get the cart user's cart. So we do user dot get cart dot add to cart. So we get the cart object for this user. Remember, each user will have their own cart, right? That's what the object object is. Each instance will create a new cart. We're going to add it to the cart. What are we going to pass when we add it to the? When we add something to the cart, we need to pass the product itself. And this one we're going to add same thing. I'm going to do user dot get cart dot add to cart, and we're going to do product 2, and we're just going to do checkout. How do we do checkout? Do a checkout, we actually need to have this object available to us, right? Do we have this object available to us? So how do we actually initialize this object? How do we create that object? Checkout equals to new. So why is this working even though we don't have a default constructor? So if you don't have any fields, you don't actually need a default constructor. If you don't have any fields, Java automatically creates a default constructor that actually does nothing, and you actually are able to create instance of that object. So that's why you're able to do that. And now you can do checkout dot complete checkout and pass in the user. So we have products, we created a store, we add products to the store, and then we have user, who goes to the store to buy that product, and then we do the checkout. If we get the same error, then we'll work together. And let's see, we get checkout is complete for Brenda. That was the name here. So that's the name. And here, list of items checking out. List of items checking out. That is actually not printing. It's giving us a memory location of that. Get list of products. So if you look at the card, get list of products, return the list of products, which is the array list, which is actually not printing. How can we print this? And why are we getting, remember, so we have two products, right? It's printing the list itself, but inside that list, the first object is this, the second object is this. What is this object? Apple, right? So this is, if you look at the main, this is a product, the object right here, and that is Apple. And the second one, this one right here, is a product object, and that is banana. If you look at product, we don't have a way to print this object out. So if you, the data type of that array list is product, and the product doesn't know how to print itself. So if you have a two-string method, like who said that? We said that. Garrett said that. Yeah. So we need a two-string method here. So we do public string and two-string. And how do you want to print this product? Remember, it's up to us however we want to print it. We can print just the name, we can print name and description, or we can print all four. So if you just do return this dot name, it'll just print the name and the price. Yeah, we can do the price also. Let's do price. So if you're adding the price, then we gotta format it a little bit. So we can do name. So now we have it. We have a two-string method for this product, and when we print the list itself, we'll get, hopefully we'll get that. So run it again. Now we get the name and the price, name and the price. It was printing the list, but the data type that we used for the list didn't have a two-string method, so we didn't know how to. Any questions? Any